ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಜಯನಗರದ ಶಾಸಕರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಚ್ಚುಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಸಿ.ಕೆ. ರಾಮಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು, ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಐಪಿಎಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ರಾವ್ ಅವರು, ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಶ್ರೀ ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಭಂಡಾರಿ, ಜಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಸಂತೋಷ್, ನೋಂದಣಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಜಿತೇಂದ್ರ ಮಿಶ್ರಾ ಅವರು, ದೀಪ ಪ್ರಜ್ವಲನೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆ ನೀಡುವುದಾಗಿ ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. Now I would like to request our esteemed guest and the dignitaries to lamp the light as a mark of light over darkness and mark the inauguration of this program. ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರತಾಡನದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಪುಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈಜಿ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಜಯನಗರದ ಶಾಸಕರು, ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಅಚ್ಚುಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಶ್ರೀ ಸಿ.ಕೆ. ರಾಮಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಿವೃತ್ತ ಐಪಿಎಸ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ರಾವ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಶ್ರೀ ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಭಂಡಾರಿ ಅವರು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಜಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಸಂತೋಷ್ ಹಾಗೂ ನೋಂದಣಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಜಿತೇಂದ್ರ ಮಿಶ್ರಾ ಅವರನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ನವೀನ್ ಶಿವಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಹ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಶ್ವಥ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಗೌಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Now I request Shri Jitendra Mishra, Registrar at Jain University, to welcome our today's chief guest and the dignitaries. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. What an occasion when we can see the entire campus being electrified with the very positive and enthusiastic presence of our very own Sri Annamalai ji. The central attraction for the day and the person of this occasion, Sri Annamalai ji, IPS retired, Sri C.K. Ramamurthy ji, our very own MLA from Jayanagar, Sri Bhaskar Rao ji, IPS retired, Sri Ravindra Bhandari ji, Vice President, Jain Group of Institutions, people from various walk of life, our students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome every one of you on this very special occasion when we are interacting with a very distinct personality that we are looking forward with lot of possibility and potential, known as Sri Annamalai ji. In our living memory, if I look back, I know one person that has made a distinct mark, who has redefined the entire occasion of our freedom fight, and he was our very own late Sri Subhash Chandra Bose ji. He was the one who left his ICS that day. In British time, the biggest civil service exam happens to be ICS, who left the exam and chose the path of freedom, and he made a mark irrespective of the party and the politics, he redefined the entire movement, and we all remember him. We have another parallel in today's time who left his very illustrious career as IPS and chosen the path of service. We are really indeed honored and privileged to have him today among us. We welcome you, sir, and we look forward to you as a role model. We know that with this generation, which is Gen Z and kind of which always look in a different way towards life and towards the country, can relate very well that one among them who had a very successful path, who has studied engineering and then management from the very illustrious IIM Lucknow, qualified for the civil services, one of the very high profile examination, one of the most toughest examination, and has success all across, but he preferred service to the nation rather than making a selfish career looking for it. There is nothing right and wrong, but we always remember the people who sacrifice their self-interest for the larger goal. And here we have the gentleman who have chosen this path of service beyond his self-interest and self-career. We all know that the people in the given profession and given field of work define that work. We happen to know Swami Vivekananda, who defined the path of spirituality in a very different way, who set the norms beyond the conventions, and we all follow him and remember him. Every profession is defined by distinct people, and that's how every profession look forward to have the great people joining it. We are very happy that one of the very brighter mind, very pious heart, and very kind-hearted person has joined the field of service, and that will certainly redefine the service. We hope that he will not only make the new path, but he will be simultaneously inspiring many of us from youth, from young, and he will make a distinct mark to make the nation great. And with such people being in the service of the nation, beyond party, we are not looking at the politics in a limited way. It is more of a nation building. We need an army of such selfless people who join the service of nation and make this nation great. We are hopeful that with all great people coming together, joining hands together, we'll be able to make India great again. And that's our hope. With this, I welcome you all, and we are here to listen to Annamalai ji. I will not stand between you and him. I welcome you once again, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mishra ji. We are truly appreciative of the presence of our guests today, and the participation ensures that this event will be a grand success. ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಇಂತಹ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಸಂಗತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಇಂದಿನ ದಿನ ಚರ್ಚಿಸುವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಅತ್ಯಮೂಲ್ಯವಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅವರ ಅನುಮೋದನೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಬೆಳಕು ನೀಡುತ್ತವೆ. ತಮ್ಮ ಅಮೂಲ್ಯ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಮತ್ತು ಉತ್ತಮ ಚರ್ಚೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಲು ತಮ್ಮ ಬಿಡುವಿಲ್ಲದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಸಮಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತಿಮಾ ಸುಭಾಷ್, ನಾನು ಒನ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಒನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್, ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ಸಹಸಂಚಾಲಕ ಆಗಿರುವ ನಾನು ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ ಸರ್. So may I request the dignitaries on the stage to light the lamp and mark the light over darkness today, to mark the inauguration of this function, please. I also invite Shri Ashwath Narayana Gowda, who is the Sahasanchalak of One Nation, One Election, and Shri Prakash Mando to be on stage during this occasion. elders and dignitaries. Now I call upon our MLA, Shri C.K. Ramamurthy, to introduce our esteemed speaker to the students.
Good morning all. Good morning students. Bolo Bharat Mata ki. Bolo Bharat Mata ki. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈ ದಿನ ಶುಭ ದಿನ. This is good day. Honorable former IPS officer Annamalai ಇವತ್ತು ಜೈನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಬಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ಒನ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಒನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಕೋರಿ, ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ವೆರಿ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸಿಂಗಮ್ ಅಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹೆಸರು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವ್ರು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಡಿಸಿಪಿಒ ಆಗಿದ್ರು, ಚಿಕ್ಕಮಗಳೂರು ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ SP ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಇಡೀ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ತಮಿಳು ನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಹೋರಾಟವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಯಾವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಗಳು ಅತ್ಯಾಚಾರ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಕರಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವತ್ತಿಂದ ಚಪ್ಪಲಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಧರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಈ DMK ಸರ್ಕಾರವನ್ನ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು, ಭ್ರಷ್ಟ ಸರ್ಕಾರವನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದು ಅವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಚಪ್ಪಲಿಯನ್ನ ಧರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅವತ್ತು ಪ್ರತಿಜ್ಞೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥವ್ರು. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋವಾಗಿದೆ ಅದರ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋರಾಡಿ ಅವರೇ ಚಡಿಯೇಟನ್ನ ತೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು, ಯಾವ ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ನೋವಾಗಬಾರದು ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅವರು ಚಡಿಯೇಟನ್ನ ಅವರೇ ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರೇ ದೇಹವನ್ನ ದಂಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇವತ್ತು ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಏಕೈಕ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒನ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಒನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್, ಇಡೀ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅದು MLA ಇರ್ಬೋದು, MP ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೋರಾಟ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈರವರು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಜೈನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೃದಯಪೂರ್ವಕ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ಹಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಸರ್, ಹಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಜೈನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to thank you for being here today and for the important role you play in the future we all are building together. I now request the Sarsanchalak of One Nation, One Election, Shri Ashwath Narayana Gowda, to present the preamble on One Nation, One Election.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ಜೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸುಂದರ ತಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ಸಮಿತಿ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಚಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಕರೆಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ IPS ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ DCP ಆಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಿಂಗಮ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಂತ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸಬೇಕು, ಅವರನ್ನ ಕರೆಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ವಿ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಿಂದುವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ನಿವೃತ್ತ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈರವರೇ, ಹಾಗೆ ಜೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಭಂಡಾರಿರವರೇ, ಹಾಗೆ ಜೈನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪಿನ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಜಗದೀಶ್ ಮಿಶ್ರಾರವರೇ, ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬರು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಹಿರಿಯರು ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಇದೀಗ ತಾನೇ ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಈ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಜನಪ್ರಿಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಆತ್ಮೀಯರು ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ರಾಮಮೂರ್ತಿರವರೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮತ್ತು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕ ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ಜೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಂಡಳಿಯವರೇ, ಸಮೂಹ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ದೇಶಾದ್ಯಂತ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ವಿಚಾರ ಚರ್ಚೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಒಂದೇ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರತಿ 6 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ 3 ತಿಂಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಆಗಬಾರದು, ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನು ಅಡಚಣೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ದೇಶದ ಆಡಳಿತಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇದೆ, ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೆಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸಮಯ ಎಷ್ಟು ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರತಿ 3 ತಿಂಗಳು 6 ತಿಂಗಳು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳು ನಡೀತಿದ್ರೆ ಕೋಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ತಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬಹುದು, ಪ್ರಥಮ ಸಾರ್ವತ್ರಿಕ ಚುನಾವಣೆ 1952 ಅಪ್ ಟು 1967 ವರೆಗೂ ಸಹ ಅಟ್ ಎ ಟೈಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಡೀತಿತ್ತು. ಅನ್ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ 67 ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂತ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ 357 ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ವಜಾ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಡಳಿತಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ರೂಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಂದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಟೈಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದೇ ಸಲ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ 1999 ಮತ್ತು 2004ರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಡೀತು. ನಡೆದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಪವರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ, ಸಮಯ ಉಳಿತು, ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಉಳಿತು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ಎ ಟೈಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಡೀಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ದೇಶದ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಮತ್ತು ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಗಬಾರದು ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶಾದ್ಯಂತ ಚರ್ಚೆಗಳು ನಡೀತಿದೆ. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ದಿವಸ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಫೆಡರೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೇಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗೋಷ್ಠಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ದೇಶದ ಮಾಜಿ ಉಪರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಪತಿಗಳಾದಂತಹ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ವೆಂಕಯ್ಯ ನಾಯ್ಡು ಅವರು ಬಂದು ಆ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ಮಂಡಿಸಿದರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಜೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇಂದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಈ ದೇಶದ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ, ಈ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ, ಈ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಬಹಳ ಪಾತ್ರ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಮಂಡಿಸಬೇಕು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾನ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ IPS ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಚರ್ಚೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಆಯೋಜನೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಮಾನ್ಯ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕುರಿತು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಆಯೋಜನೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುವು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಂತ ಜೈನ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ರವರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಆಭಾರಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ.
ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾವನೆಯ ಆರಂಭವನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಕವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸಿದ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಿಕಾರರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಶ್ವಥ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಗೌಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ಅರ್ಪಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. Okay, it's time now to invite our honored guest to address the enthusiastic gathering. Please put your hands together to the dynamic, determined, strategic, visionary Shri Annamalai ji. Can I have a big wave from everyone? Can you please wave to him?
Dear students, who have assembled here with a lot of energy on this very beautiful day. And all of you have chosen to give 2 hours of your time during your busy schedule to listen to us, to talk and ideate on a topic in which you will be playing a very, very important role. Along with me in the stage, there are very eminent people and 2 wonderful gentlemen representing the Jain group. The Vice President of Jain Group of Institutions, Sri Ravindra Bhandari sir, and the Register of Jain Group of Institutions, Dr. Jitendra Mishra sir. And along with me, this Jayanagar area's your public representative, who is serving as your member of Legislative Assembly, Sri C.K. Ramamurthy sir, and a former boss of mine who served as the Commissioner of Police, Bengaluru City, and currently my colleague in the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sri Bhaskar Rao, IPS retired sir, and eminent people who are instrumental in getting this One Nation, One Election seminar in Jain University organized. Sanchalak for One Nation, One Election for the state of Karnataka, Sri Naveen Shivaprakash ji, former member of Legislative Council and Saha Sanchalak, One Nation, One Election Karnataka, Ashwath Narayan Gowda sir, who just spoke before me and who is there in the front row, and madam who is coordinating the whole show, and Sanchalak for One Nation, One Election for the state of Karnataka, Madam Saha Sanchalak, Madam Pratima Subhash, and all the eminent guests who have come, guests and people from different political parties and the party, Bharatiya Janata Party that I represent, and all the media friends. Jain Group of Institution has got a very unique distinction. This is a college where students have come from all different parts of Bharat, all 28 states. I was given to understand that even the students sitting in this hall who are in the first floor, second floor, and the third floor of this campus, 50% of the students, they speak a different language than Kannada. So the advice to speak in English. So, nimmellarukum nan namaskara telisi, ellorukum ennoda vanakathai solli, inga irukkoodiya ella sondangalukkum ennoda kaalai vanakathai therivithuk kolgindren. Now, before I start, before I interact with you, I would like to ask you a couple of questions. One, to make you active. Second, to make you to raise your hands in the morning. How many of you are eligible to vote? Meaning in 2024, I voted. Okay, eligible to vote first. Okay, I'll not embarrass you. Okay. How many of you are eligible to vote, but still you couldn't find some time to vote this time? 2024, I couldn't vote. Fine, it's okay, no problem, for various reasons. And how many of you have heard about One Nation, One Election in the media, in the newspaper discussion, TV discussion? Okay. How many of you think One Nation, One Election is important for our country? It is a right initiative. Thank you so much. How many of you think probably, maybe the timing is not right, we don't want One Nation, One Election at this point of time? Anybody is there? Fine, it's a democracy, we all have to. In the old Rome, everybody will go to the city square. Thank you so much. In the old Roman time, everybody will go to the city square. And the voting is, somebody will stand on top of the city square. They will ask all the citizens. At that point of time, the eligible voters are slave owners. And the eligible voters should have a land class. And eligible voters should occupy an important position in the Rome country. Only they can raise up their hand and show. For democracy, from there, we have reached to a point in 2025, when you see across the world, democracy keeps maturing, it keeps evolving. The great Winston Churchill, when somebody asked him, define democracy, he said democracy is the worst form of government. Then they asked him, sir, what are you saying? Why are you saying the worst form of government? He said, democracy is the worst form of government. The problem is other forms of government are much worse than democracy. So among the worst forms, we have picked up democracy. Different people give different explanations. The point Winston Churchill is trying to emphasize is, unless democracy keeps maturing, unless democracy keeps evolving with times, possibly you might lose interest. Because such a big country, all of us vote for an MLA, all of us vote for an MP. For example, if you take my state, Tamil Nadu, in Coimbatore parliamentary constituency, if you see, 15, 16, 17 lakh depending on the 10-year scale, they select an MP. And about 70% come and vote, 30% don't vote. Which means you are looking at approximately 11 lakh people selecting their representative. If you take Jayanagar, one of the most important constituencies in Bengaluru in Karnataka, such a highly educated place, where a lot of people who follow tradition and culture live, even here the voting percentage might be 55, 56%. So the problem with democracy is not everybody participates. Not everybody has got a self-interest to participate. Because you don't see your public representative daily. And public representative is also very busy, and many of you see your public representative once in 5 years. And many of you see your public representative in the TV or in the newspaper. That is why the youngsters, especially 18 to 25, their participation in democracy is at an all-time low. If you look research studies after research studies, the youngsters' participation in democracy, direct participation by voting, by debating, by discussing, participating in this kind of seminars, the youngsters participating in democracy is getting to an all-time low. This is a very serious issue. That is why I am very happy in this very eminent Jain group of institution. All of us have assembled here. We have come here to talk to you, to the youngsters, to ideate with you, discuss with you, to try and take your mindset, your opinion also to decide how the country should move forward together as a collective group, together as citizens of this country. And no democracy is perfect. If anybody thinks democracy is perfect, then probably we are living in a fool's paradise. 1776, American War of Independence, it got over. And the northern part of US and the southern part of US, they came together. That point of time, there was a big discussion on who will vote. Who is eligible to vote? How will they vote? What is the duration of a public representative whom we will select? Many of you might not know this, because south of US had a lot of colored people, so-called black people. The north had a lot of slave owners or the rich class. During the American Constitution formation itself, people said, not everybody should get an equal vote. So the America in 1776, they started something called 3/5 compromise. Meaning, for every 5 black people who vote, it will be counted as 3 white votes. Because they said South is more populated with colored people. So this union of states will break unless we arrive at a compromise. So 3/5 compromise was struck. Who struck? Some of the greatest names in American history. George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Madison, all those people, they struck a compromise. They wanted the union to survive. 3/5 compromise they brought in. Later, Abraham Lincoln in 1861, which is a good 100 years later, 90 years later, Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery, and thereby the 3/5 compromise, everything went out. The reason I'm trying to make this in front of you is to emphasize the point. Some of you said, I agree with your proposal. Some of you said, I don't agree with your proposal. But overall, we all agree to a common point. No democracy is perfect. We all keep fighting to make sure we can improve our democracy bit by bit every single time we get an opportunity. And many of you might not know, in Italy, a European country, an advanced European country, till 2021 elections, for the Senate elections, only people below 25 can vote. Only in 2021 elections in Italy, they extended the tenure to say 18 years to 21 years, 24 years, you can vote in the Italy election. So all through the world, India is possibly one of the first countries in the world. The day we got independence, we said all of us are equal. The day we got independence, we said everybody has got one equal vote. And day we got independence, we said men and women both can vote. Because in many of the advanced democracies that we talk now, our brave sisters and mothers weren't given the opportunity to vote the day the country got the independence. So when India did everything right, starting from 1947 in the first election in 1951, many people said Indian democracy will die. Because educated people have got one vote, uneducated people have got one vote, people having land, they have one vote, people working as coolie and laborers, they have one vote, women have one vote, male have one vote. How is that possible? So from there, we have reached 2025 with our democracy intact only due to the participation of people like you. This is something which we have to keep acknowledging at every single possible moment to make sure that we kept our democracy intact. That is why our country has gone through multiple changes. It is not everything is fine, everything was great. The first election, it happened over 2 years. The first election never happened like now. It happened over a 40-day period. It happened over 7 phases. The first election happened in 1951, 1952. Sukumar Sen, who was our first election commissioner, he conducted the first election. First election is very important because India, we have to show the world that we can conduct elections for ourselves and our elections can be perfect and more than perfect. Through this principle of equal representation, we can select our public representative who will govern. 51-52, we did our first election, no problem. 57, exactly 5 years later, we did not regress into an autocracy. Exactly 5 years later, we did our second election, 1957, no problem. But the problem in 1957, the small problem was, 7 states have lost their majority by then. Madras, Mysore, Uttar Pradesh, Bombay, West Bengal, the so-called presidencies and some of the states couldn't complete their first 5-year term. So what we had to do as a country in 1957, we wanted the Lok Sabha and we wanted the Assembly both to go together in 1957 because 51-52 we voted together. 57 we wanted to vote together. In 7 states, when they lost their majority, we made sure all these 7 states again came back and together the 1957 elections also happened in one shot, no problem. 1962, 5 years later, again without fail, because the problem was, many of the countries that got independence along with us, they regressed back to a dictatorship or an autocracy. For third straight time after 5 years, again we did our election on time, whereby the legislative assemblies and the parliament house of people, we voted in unison. 1967, fourth time, again after 5 years, all the state legislative assemblies and house of people, Lok Sabha, we voted together. Which means our country, starting from 1952 to 1967, for 15 straight years, it was a one nation, it was a one election without fail. The problem happened from 1967 onwards. Because 1970 Lok Sabha was dissolved 1 year before. The elections happened in 1971. By the time many states in our country, starting from Kerala had the first ignominious, what you call the record, of getting dismissed by the central government because there was a communist party in power led by EMS Namboodiripad. The government in Delhi at that point of time, they felt, okay, Russia is a communist country, China is a communist country. We cannot afford to have one more communist party ruling our country in a state in Kerala led by EMS Namboodiripad because he is bringing land reforms, he is bringing a lot of things. Probably the Congress party at that point of time, when Madam Indira Gandhi visited Congress, before she was the Congress president, when she visited Kerala, when she reported back to her father Nehru, she felt it is time that Kerala should not go the communist way. So against the principle of Indian Constitution, against the principle of a person deciding what kind of government he wants, the communist government in Kerala was unceremoniously dismissed. Then one after the other, state governments got dismissed, many times for flimsy reasons. Many times for flimsy reasons. For example, during emergency, the government in my home state, Tamil Nadu, was dismissed because they felt in emergency there are only 3 states in our country that are non-Congress ruled states. They felt all the non-Congress ruled states should be dismissed and Tamil Nadu was one of the states which got dismissed. And many a time the regional parties, if they align with the party in power in center Congress, they'll continue in power. If they change to a different national party, they will get dismissed. Classic case being Tamil Nadu. Whenever DMK aligns with Congress, they are there. If DMK doesn't align with Congress, they get dismissed. So we have seen this kind of a seesaw democracy in our country, starting from 1970, an 18-month emergency in between. Then we have different governments coming and going, the late 80s. In the emergency, the Congress party dismissed so many governments. When the Janata Party came back to power post-emergency, they also dismissed so many governments. They said, emergency, you dismiss this many governments. After emergency, I have come, I have dismissed so many governments. Now what it has created is a problem in our country with 28 states and 8 union territory. Every year, always our country, Bharat, seems to be on election mode. Every year. We just finished an election in Delhi. We are preparing for an election in Bihar, October, September. Next year onset, Bengal and Tamil Nadu will be the first states to go for election. Last year, along with Lok Sabha, we finished Orissa, we finished Andhra Pradesh. Immediately after the Lok Sabha election, we did Haryana, we did Maharashtra. You keep observing in our country always seems to be in election mode. There is always a model code of conduct in some part of the country. You all know, the youngsters, the students have to understand. A model code of conduct, moment it comes, it freezes the government, it paralyzes the government. And a model code of conduct comes a good 45 days before a government gets formed, before the election happens. And before the model code of conduct, a good 6 months goes into preparing electoral rolls, starting from the district collector to the tahsildar. Their job 6 months before the election is to prepare the electoral roll. Okay, anybody above 18 years, new voters, have you registered? You got your voter card, addition, deletion of voters, shifting of voters. 6 months we do it. So what happens? The administration goes through a severe paralysis. 6 months before the model code of conduct, then the model code of conduct, which is about 45 days, then the election happens. Within a week, the result comes. Possibly within 10 days, the government forms. So technically, if you take, a state loses at least about 7.5 months for every 5 years, only to prepare itself for an election, only to prepare its whole machinery for election. Right from a government school teacher has to be there in the field studying electoral roll, a government school teacher going to the polling booth conducting election, a government school teacher standing, sitting all the way till the counting happens. And this one nation, one election is not about elections alone. It is about the dynamics behind the elections also. How we as a country conduct election. Because election is not an ordinary task. Every time you will see the EVM machines going in elephants. And some places in Uttarakhand we have seen people going in ropes, carrying EVM machines in their back because they have to go to an inaccessible terrain. And we have seen our brave teachers, CRPF and other paramilitary, central armed forces, people traveling all the way into dense, Naxal affected areas conducting election. So there is a machinery behind it. Now, over the last many years, not now, we are having a very big discussion how we should conduct election. Is it time that Bharat, India should go back to doing our election only one time, so that we go press one button for the Lok Sabha to select your MP, we press one button and another EVM to select our MLA, and then we walk out, so that every 5 years we get tuned to it. There are many logic and counter logic that is given both and against the one nation, one election. If you look at the earliest proponents in 1932, the franchisee committee report, even before the independence, when the provincial elections were happening, the franchisee committee report of 1932, it wanted a single electoral roll, so that for assembly and provincial councils, one electoral roll can be prepared, and you should not have two electoral roll for two elections. Combine the election once, so that people can have one. 1932. The Election Commission of India's inaugural report in 1983. Election Commission of India, every year it gives a report to the public. This is we as a commission, we have done elections, this is the problem. Our Indian Election Commission, first report was in 1983. If you look at the inaugural and annual report in 1983, the Election Commission of India said in 1983, it is time that our country should go for simultaneous elections, which we lost in 1967. They said in 1983. If you look at the Law Commission of India report in 1999, 170th report, the Law Commission also said it is important we go for one nation, one election, because that is how we were. Now there is so much confusion of multiple elections happening at multiple points of time. 2015, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Personal Public Grievances, Law and Justice, a group of parliamentarians thoroughly studied the issue. They also felt it is important that we should go for one nation, one election. 2017 Niti Aayog, They analyze the economic potential with respect to conducting one nation, one election. If India does one election, one shot, for both the Assembly and the House of People, Lok Sabha, they formulated the working paper called Analysis of Simultaneous Elections, What, Why and How. If you look at that paper, for me the most striking thing that I liked in that paper is, one nation, one election will force a regional party to think nationally, a national party to think regionally. This is very important for a country like Bharat, which has got all of us speaking multiple languages, differing cultures, but the spirit of Bharatiya we united. Just yesterday, you might have seen in Tamil Nadu, my home state, the common symbol rupee, which we all use. Tamil Nadu government said we will not use this symbol because we wanted to use our Rus symbol. Because our rubai, what you say in rubai in Tamil, the rubai itself comes from a Sanskrit word called rupaya. From there the Tamil word rubai has come. And that ru. The counter logic is, since you don't want Devanagari, you don't want Sanskrit. But why do you want ru? Because ru itself has come from Sanskrit. Now in fact the symbol was given by a Tamilian in 2010 in the National Design Contest. A Tamilian presented this symbol which was accepted in a design contest, which all of us have accepted. Now one state says, no, I don't want this symbol. Now tomorrow a non-Tamil speaking friend, you come to my state, you go to a tea shop. Let us imagine you order a cup of tea, which is 20 rupees or 10 rupee and a vada. And then you take a menu card. What will you read? What will you see? That is why we have a certain commonality. That is why this Niti Aayog working paper very beautifully said, it will force the regional party to think nationally and national parties to think regionally. This is one important outcome that will come out of a one nation, one election. Niti Aayog working paper. Again in 2018, the Law Commission's draft report after 1999, one more time they said, India should go for a one nation, one election, the time is right. 2019, all party meeting in Delhi. All party meeting, this is 5 years before what we are discussing now. When all party meeting happened in Delhi, they were discussing critical reforms in governance. One important topic among the 19 parties that attended is how many parties support one nation, one election. You'll be very surprised to know many parties have taken a stand in parliament now. Some of the parties that, no, we don't support one nation, one election. But many of the parties in 2019, when they participated in that conference, 16 parties wanted one nation, one election. Parties BJP, Nationalist Congress Party, JDU, YSRCP, BJD, BRS, LJP, SAD, APNADAL, All Jharkhand Students Union, Sikkim Krantakari Morcha, NDPP, NPP, PDP, RLP, RPI. 16 parties said, we want one country, one election. 3 parties in the 2019 meeting, they said, we don't want one nation, one election. CPIM, RSP, AIMIM. 3 parties said we don't want. So the reason I'm giving this in front of you is, this is not a concept we are discussing now. This is not a concept the current parliament has taken up. Nor this is not a concept we are discussing for the last 6 months. This is a concept that started in 1932. And we are discussing it at multiple points of time. Election Commission, Law Commission of our country, all parties meeting that is happening. So all of us in consensus, we are trying to move towards one nation, one election, so that the youth participation in democracy will become high. You don't get voter fatigue. Oh, this month you will make me to vote for Panchayat election. Then you will call BBMP election for Bengaluru civic body, you will call me. Then after 3 months, you will call me to vote for Legislative Assembly. Then after 3 months, like Karnataka, 2023, your Assembly. 2024, you voted for Lok Sabha. Now BBMP elections, we are not sure when it is happening. Again, you will vote. Then people like me and all the leaders will complain. Oh, youth is not participating. Youth are bad. Since youth is not participating, they are not interested in democracy. I am very, very sure when we facilitate youth to vote, 100% of our youth will come, they'll participate, they will vote, they will select a public representative of our choice. Now this is also a logic the students should see. you get a voter fatigue. You are least interested every time to go up, stand outside the polling booth, and many a time you don't have full information. Who's the candidate? What is the background of the candidate? Especially for a corporate election, you might not even have an idea who's your corporator. That is why many of the youths don't turn up. I'm very sure one of the positive aspects of one nation, one election is the participation of youth will go up. Second, there is an economic logic. Now, there are various economic studies which points out to a fact. If we have one nation, one elections at one shot, next year, the Indian GDP will see a rise of 1.5%. 1.5% will be an addition to the GDP. So 1.5% of the current Indian GDP will be about 4.5 lakh crore rupee. 4.5 lakh crore rupee would be an economic addition, a logic, because of one nation, one election, because of an uptick of 1.5%. Now there are also various studies that points out 2024 Lok Sabha election, all the political parties, candidates, everybody, there is a legal ceiling limit. Some candidates go over that, some go under over it. Though Election Commission job is to catch. 2024 Lok Sabha alone, there is an estimate which says, together in our country for the elections, everybody had spent 1,74,000 crore for the election. 2024 Lok Sabha, 543 constituencies. Estimates say together the candidates, political parties, everybody, legal, illegal, under the table, over the table in our country, together they have spent 1,74,000 crore rupee. Now I am very, very sure the eminent audience sitting gathered here will think through multiple things, okay? Politically, one nation, one election. Economically, one nation, one election. To advance a democracy, one nation, one election. To reduce voter fatigue, one nation, one election. That is why of late the one nation, one election has got a lot of discussion, lot of debate. Now we as a mature democracy, it is not Bhaskar Rao sir or our MLA sir has come to the stage, they said, tomorrow morning, one nation, one election, all of you have to accept it. No. Our country, we have gone through a democratic process. And there is a committee appointed by the government, headed by the former president of our country, Sri Ramnath Govindji. He had a committee, he studied, called political parties, visited, spoken to people like you, young audience, all kinds of people. Then they came out with the report. That report is submitted in the parliament. That report is given to a joint parliamentary committee, JPC. And right now, JPC is doing public interaction, talking to common people like us, taking your suggestions, your ideas also, trying to add.
Hearty welcome to you, sir. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕವಾದ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಪಿಸುತ್ತಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂದಿನ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾದ ನಿವೃತ್ತ IPS ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜಯನಗರದ ಶಾಸಕರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಅಚ್ಚುಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ CK ರಾಮಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರು, ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ IPS ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ರಾವ್ ಅವರು, ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಶ್ರೀ ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಭಂಡಾರಿ, ಜಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಸಂತೋಷ್, ನೋಂದಣಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಜಿತೇಂದ್ರ ಮಿಶ್ರಾ ಅವರು, ದೀಪ ಪ್ರಜ್ವಲನೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆ ನೀಡುವುದಾಗಿ ನಾನು ವಿನಂತಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. Now I would like to request our esteemed guest and the dignitaries to lamp the light as a mark of light over darkness and mark the inauguration of this program. ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಶ್ರೀಯುತ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರತಾಡನದಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಪುಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈಜಿ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಜಯನಗರದ ಶಾಸಕರು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಅಚ್ಚುಮೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಶ್ರೀ ಸಿ.ಕೆ. ರಾಮಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಿವೃತ್ತ IPS ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಶ್ರೀ ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ಅವರಿಗೂ ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು ಶ್ರೀ ರವೀಂದ್ರ ಭಂಡಾರಿ ಅವರು ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಜೈನ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಜಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಸಂತೋಷ್ ಹಾಗೂ ನೋಂದಣಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಜಿತೇಂದ್ರ ಮಿಶ್ರಾ ಅವರನ್ನು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ನವೀನ್ ಶಿವಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಹ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಶ್ವಥ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಗೌಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಬಯಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. Now I request Shri Jitendra Mishra, Registrar at Jain University, to welcome our today's chief guest and the dignitaries. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. What an occasion when we can see the entire campus being electrified with the very positive and enthusiastic presence of our very own Sri Annamalai ji. The central attraction for the day and the person of this occasion, Sri Annamalai ji, IPS retired, Sri C.K. Ramamurthy ji, our very own MLA from Jayanagar, Sri Bhaskar Rao ji, IPS retired, Sri Ravindra Bhandari ji, Vice President, Jain Group of Institutions, people from various walk of life, our students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome every one of you on this very special occasion when we are interacting with a very distinct personality that we are looking forward with lot of possibility and potential, known as Sri Annamalai ji. In our living memory, if I look back, I know one person that has made a distinct mark, who has redefined the entire occasion of our freedom fight, and he was our very own late Sri Subhash Chandra Bose ji. He was the one who left his ICS that day. In British time, the biggest civil service exam happens to be ICS, who left the exam and chose the path of freedom, and he made a mark irrespective of the party and the politics. He redefined the entire movement, and we all remember him. We have another parallel in today's time, who left his very illustrious career as IPS and chosen the path of service. We are really indeed honored and privileged to have him today among us. We welcome you, sir, and we look forward to you as a role model. We know that with this generation, which is Gen Z and kind of which always look in a different way towards life and towards the country, can relate very well that one among them who had a very successful path, who has studied engineering and then management from the very illustrious IIM Lucknow, qualified for the civil services, one of the very high profile examination, one of the most toughest examination, and has success all across, but he preferred service to the nation rather than making a selfish career looking for it. There is nothing right and wrong, but we always remember the people who sacrifice their self-interest for the larger goal. And here we have the gentleman who have chosen this path of service beyond his self-interest and self-career. We all know that the people in the given profession and given field of work define that work we happens to know Swami Vivekananda, who defined the path of spirituality in a very different way, who set the norms beyond the conventions, and we all follow him and remember him. Every profession is defined by distinct people, and that's how every profession look forward to have the great people joining it. We are very happy that one of the very brighter mind, very pious heart, and very kind-hearted person has joined the field of service, and that will certainly redefine the service. We hope that he will not only make the new path, but he will be simultaneously inspiring many of us from youth, from young, and he will make a distinct mark to make the nation great. And with such people being in the service of the nation, beyond party, we are not looking at the politics in a limited way. It is more of a nation building. We need an army of such selfless people who join the service of nation and make this nation great. We are hopeful that with all great people coming together, joining hands together, we'll be able to make India great again. And that's our hope. With this, I welcome you all, and we are here to listen to Annamalai ji. I will not stand between you and him. I welcome you once again, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mishra ji. We are truly appreciative of the presence of our guests today, and the participation ensures that this event will be a grand success. ಅಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈ ಅವರ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಇಂತಹ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಸಂಗತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಇಂದಿನ ದಿನ ಚರ್ಚಿಸುವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಅತ್ಯಮೂಲ್ಯವಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಅವರ ಅನುಮೋದನೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕ ಚಿಂತನೆಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಬೆಳಕು ನೀಡುತ್ತವೆ. ತಮ್ಮ ಅಮೂಲ್ಯ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಮತ್ತು ಉತ್ತಮ ಚರ್ಚೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಲು ತಮ್ಮ ಬಿಡುವಿಲ್ಲದ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಸಮಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತಿಮಾ ಸುಭಾಷ್, ನಾನು ಒನ್ ನೇಷನ್ ಒನ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್, ಒಂದು ದೇಶ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ಸಹಸಂಚಾಲಕ ಆಗಿರುವ ನಾನು ಹೃತ್ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನ ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ ಸರ್. So may I request the dignitaries on the stage to light the lamp and mark the light over darkness today, to mark the inauguration of this function, please. I also invite Shri Ashwath Narayana Gowda, who is the Sahasanchalak of One Nation, One Election, and Shri Prakash Mando to be on stage during this occasion. Thank you, esteemed guests and dignitaries.